doctor, in the academic world. He will start with history. Started from 1857 onward, and the need for professional development came to the forefront in the 1960s. It is a learning process to maintain professional credentials, attending conferences and workshops as we are here today. There are varieties of approaches to professional development, including consultation, coaching, practice, learning, study, mentoring, reflective supervision, and technical assistance. A little further, the American Society of Safety Professionals was founded in 1911 and is the world's oldest professional safety society. The membership organization represents a community of safe practices for safety, health, and environmental professionals, and is considered the leading voice and authority in the safety and health industry. By vote in 2017, the SSP Board of Directors and House of Delegates approved an organizational name change. Beginning June 1st, 2018, the American Society of Safety Engineers name changed to the American Society of Safety Professionals as a way of promoting emerging professionals who are not trained engineers that have ample working experience in safety practice. The Global Association for Professional Safety and Health Professionals, and we are the Nigerian chapter of the association. OSH is a maturing profession, experiencing a paradigm shift and adapting from a very technical or compliance-based management position to a adaptive leadership position. As the association grew older, the board of directors thought it wise to establish common interest groups. As such, young emerging professionals that will allow the safety culture and interest of young professionals in the company of the pairs, establish local leaders, participate in society activities, networking, and uncover new opportunities, gain and increase experience from older professionals, etc. The SSP Nigeria chapter Young Emerging Professionals Common Interest Group was established in 2021 under the leadership of past President Mrs. Mercy Omoifo Irefu. The main workshop was held on June 12, 2021. We have about 5 significant trends changing our world and impacting our lives and businesses rapidly. Demographics, institutions, technology, relationships, and speed. This rapid change is happening have significant implications in workplace and education and training of occupational safety and health professionals. Recent years have also seen steady movement towards measuring worker well-being as a major safety and health outcome. Interestingly, this changes underscore the need for an expanded focus for occupational safety and health that goes beyond simply summing workplace illness and injury prevention with health promotion. An expanded focus has significantly transformed and influenced how we train next generation of occupational safety and health professionals, conduct OSH research, and design forward-thinking policies to maximize workers' health and well-being. This is germane and one of the reasons why we are here, to listen and learn from our team of erudite professionals as they discuss on the theme, influencing the next generation of OSH professionals. Finally, there is the goal of today, being a member of young emerging professionals. It gives the opportunity to strengthen and build stronger ties with networking events, mentorship to volunteer opportunities, and more. We welcome you for indicating interest to join. Once more, thank you all, physical and virtual, for participating in this program. I especially recognize and appreciate our sponsors, Flour Mill of Nigeria, Seaway Fresh Fountain, DM Sheffield, HSC Nations, Aqua, bridging HSE group, individual donors, and others. To our organizing committee, thank you for the job well done. We appreciate you. Long live ASSP, long live safety profession. Thank you all, Dr. Oke Chukwukani, President, ASSP Nigeria Chapter 2022-2023. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, we want to say a very big thank you for that wonderful speech. I've been able to learn, we have been able to learn that it's important for older professionals to arouse safety culture and interest in young girls. That's exactly what we are doing with the Young Emerging Professional Group of the ASSP Nigerian Chapter. Thank you. And Madam Angela Kwongwa, did I get that? Thank you very much for that wonderful representation. Thank you so much. So Engineer Sheko Kabir is available now. We'll quickly be doing the opening remarks by Kabir.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Coordinator. Good morning, fellow professional, President, the American Society of Safety Professionals, all the YEF executive, and distinguished invitees, both physical and virtual. Please, good morning. It is my greatest pleasure to be in this wonderful workshop, second workshop of the Young Emerging Professional, titled Influencing the Next Generation of the Occupational Health and Safety Professionals. Indeed, this
While we are waiting for this next one to come back, I'll quickly use this time to recognize those joining virtually. We appreciate you so much. I see Mrs. Mumi Bankoli. I see Abayomi, Mr. Abayomi. I see Adesuji. I see Mr. Ade. Thank you very much for joining us virtually. I see Aziz Ukutimo. I see Mr. Chima Suedi. Mr. Nako Molani, I see. Thank you very much. I'm also sponsoring the live video. Thanks a lot, sir. Engineer Ilami Vincent, thank you very much, sir, for joining virtually. Mr. George Olomi, thank you very much. Mr. George Omoimonti, thank you very much. Mr. Ikechu Lawrence, Mr. Ikechu Filipo, and the host of all them that are joining virtually. We see you and we recognize you specially. Thank you very much. the network is still not on. So we're moving ahead to the goodwill messages. We are having the president of this one, Mr. Kesa Iguar. The World City Organization represent Mr. Soji Oladapo, represented by Mr. Social. We have Mr. Ebuka Joanna, who head of Flour Mills Nigeria, and Mr. Wale Oguye, the MD and CEO of NCC. So we'll be giving Mr. Ebuka Joanna to give us.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Can you hear me? Okay. So, I'm excited to be here to be part of this very interesting venture. The Young Emerging Professionals focus group from the American Society of Safety Professionals. And I think it's really very important because, we keep saying that young people are the future for tomorrow. And that means that we have to, enable the young people. We have to make sure that they have everything that it takes to be able to step into the future. So I think that this is a very fantastic opportunity to be able to create that capability amongst our young people. And I encourage all of us to participate as much as they can. Learn, share, interact, and engage. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ebuka. So once again, we want to recognize the president of ISPON, Mr. Kesa Iguari. Mr. Kesa Iguari will join us shortly. Thank you very much, sir. We recognize you. The World Safety Organization, Mr. Soji Oladapo. He is here. Is there a representative from the World Safety Organization? Represented by Mr. Nonso. Not here yet, okay. Mr. Wale Ogunye, the MD CEO of NCC. All right, thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. I said good morning, everybody. Good morning, sir. Yeah, my name is Wale Ogunye, and I'm very happy to be here, very excited, because I have a passion for young people, for one selfish reason. And the selfish reason is there's something called reverse mentoring. So I remember discussing with a mentor. She came to me that she would like me to be a mentor. And I asked her, okay, so what are you going to give me? She was like, give you. I've come to receive from you. I said, no, you also have something to also give to me in return. So that's one of the reasons why I like this kind of gathering. So I'm actually here today, and maybe also teach you one or two things as you grow your career. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wale, for the full message and for all you do at NCC. I've been following NCC on the internet and really got me. For even younger or children, second primary school, I think. Well done, sir. Thank you very much. We also have a good message from CV, We have the HSC manager, his engineer, or Laika. We have a good message to from you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see everyone here. On behalf of my MD, Mr. Michael, Sewage Food and Beverages, Shagam Plants, we're very pleased to receive the sponsorship letter. And immediately we have to react because we have passion for health and safety, and especially for great people, young man like me anyway. So, and that's why we are here. We have to influence everyone, not just for it, and also those at the board. We have to make people advocates. Even people are trying to migrate from other occupations to HSC. Right? We should see HSC as just being an occupation. It's a way of life. And there is only one life, and we need to guide HSC. We are all welcome, and I want everyone to have an open mind so that we're able to learn from each other. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Engineer Laika. Really appreciate that. It's important for us all to keep an open mind to learn and learn in gatherings such as this. We are going back to the immediate past president's address. Is he back online? Okay, so we'll be having that now. Thank you.
Hello. Good morning, fellow professional, President of the American Society of Professionals. Good morning. I'm glad to be in this important workshop, the second workshop for Young Emerging Profession Nigerian chapter, SSP Nigerian chapter, titled "The Influencing the Next Generation of OSH Professionals." Indeed, this is the biggest event to have happened in the history of OSSE Nigeria chapter. This Young Emerging Professional Workshop is next to our PDC in terms of capacity, coordination, and more. I must commend the Young Emerging Professional leadership for this success. As we all know that youth are the bedrock of our society globally, so we must stand up to assist them in all their activities. Young emerging professionals have been elevating ASSP in Nigeria for quite a long time, particularly during the year 2021 to 2022. It was so amazing. They have been contributing in all directions. It's just recently that the global body recognized Nigerian chapter with the highest award of platinum, and this could not have happened without the support we got and all the coordination and activities of young emerging professionals. We really remain commendable to their effort. And I urge the president of the American Society of Safety Professionals, in person of Dr. Okondu Ogechi, to continue to support our young emerging professionals so that they will elevate and go higher and higher. The way they have exhibited is really highly commendable. I thank each and every one of us, and I wish us a very successful workshop. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much for your speech and for your overcoming the network obstacles. We don't have this network in Nigeria. Well done, everyone. Well done, sir. Thank you very much. So while he was giving his speech, a very important guest of ours came in. I would like to welcome him to the good group message, Mr. Mbata Ben, the MD and lead consultant of P Nexus. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. I think I have to start or align with existing protocols so that we don't be the protocols. My name is Fine Brain Bata. I don't know why it's always difficult for protocol people to pronounce my name. Sometimes when I was in service, some people are say I'm in South Africa because the name is so unique, I don't know. So that's the name, Fine Brain Bata. I'm the MD lead consultant of Fine Business, a company incorporated to address some safety risk management and quality management issues of corporate and corporate organizations. So this is not a problem to advertise my business, but let me say I was called to give a good message. I want to thank the organizing committee led by our Amazon, Monica Mwosu, for putting together this program and for also making me one of the guests. I think it is very, very, very timely and very important for us to address issues of the future. Sustainable development is about the future, and the future belongs to these people we have here. So if you don't think and manage the future, you don't factor things about the future now, we will not have a future to deliver. We will not have a future to bequeath to the generations upcoming. So that is why this program is very apt, very timely. And I do hope that themes and sub-themes that have been paraded for discussion will no doubt bring out some burning issues and takeaways that will enable us chart the way forward for these younger generations. There are obviously yawning gaps in the ascendancy or transition plan for HSC or OHS practice in Nigeria for this younger generation. So it's important to discuss it. And I do hope that today we shall spend enough time to dig out where the challenges are, where the issues are, and profile sustainable solutions that will enable us influence and attract and retain this body or younger generation, Z generation, in the practice of OHS in Nigeria. Having said that, I think there's also time to talk. Let me not spend more time giving the good message. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy that we shall, at the end of this session, be all happy. I wish you all happy and peaceful deliberation. Thank you very much.
A very big thank you to Mr. Bata. Thank you for wonderful message. And we will be skipping the keynote address by the teacher for now. We'll be moving on to the meat of the day. The first presentation will be taken by Mr. Eka. To read his profile, we have Mr. Abano Saka to read his profile.
Good morning, everyone. I've been called to be the profile of first speaker, Mr. Ebuka Duane. Mr. Ebuka is a business leader, is an accomplished health safety, environmental sustainability professional with extensive experience creating and managing effective system safety, environment and sustainability programs. He is strategic and meticulous in initiating new protocols and adopting pragmatic methods to effectively minimize OSH risks. Environmental losses, workplace injuries and accidents, able to forge solid relationships with internal and external stakeholders and build a consistent focus across multiple organization levels. Mr. Ebuka is proficient in health safety and environment sustainability systems, HSE compliance auditing, risk management, process hazard analysis, incident investigation, and root cause analysis, as well as property loss prevention, contractor management, project planning, regulatory compliance, and people management. His specialties includes occupational health and safety, inclusive of environment management system. Mr. Ebuka has worked with Coca-Cola HBC as the country safety manager. He is the current group head, health safety and environmental sustainability at LMN, Clan of Nigeria. I welcome Mr. Ebuka.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me without the mic? Sometimes I prefer not to use the mic because I know the limits. Okay. So I'm actually very excited to be talking about, influencing the next generation of OHS professionals, because it's a topic that resonates very, very soundly with me. I reflect when I started my career, in health, safety, and environment, some close to 20 years ago. And, I was asking myself, how do I, equip myself on this journey to be able to get to the level where I was looking at them, where I saw some of, our leaders that who were already, established in that field and in that career. And I had to really equip myself. I had to really try to understand what it took to be able to, acquire some skills and prepare myself for that journey. So it's very befitting that I should also use this opportunity to also share what I think will help the next OHS professional who is already undertaking that journey or who is going to be in that space. And so the focus is becoming the value-driven OSH professional. So how do we impact value? So that's what we're going to be talking about. So, what does this tell us? The future of work is changing. I'm sure that we all agree that the future of work is changing. Just cast your thoughts back to a couple of years ago, before even COVID. A lot of the things that we are doing now are not even possible. We're not even thinking about it. Now, there's a lot of emphasis on automation. Most meetings are done virtually. Everything is changing. The way people used to see things in the past is completely different. So the future of work is changing every day. The globe that we exist in is very dynamic. Younger people are coming up with newer ideas, how to address some of the current challenges that are facing them. And of course, countries or the global world that we exist in are also facing new challenges. So these challenges are coming up every day. The way we view work today is completely different from what work was some years ago. So now there are newer machines that are replacing people. There is artificial intelligence. there are robotics. The internet is also there, so you can actually gain knowledge, you can get information very quickly without spending hours maybe doing research in a library. So a lot of things are changing. So for us in OHS, how are we going to evolve in the future of work? Are we going to continue doing things the way we've been doing it in the past? What are we going to do differently? How are we going to equip ourselves to remain relevant in the future of work? This is very, very important. Otherwise, we are going to be run over by the speed at which things are moving. So there was a very, interesting survey that was carried out by the SOS Foundation. I'm sure some of you know the SOS Foundation. It's about helping and equipping companies and organizations to evolve in health, safety, and security by doing research and training and so on and so forth. So they recently did a survey. They surveyed some 230 industry professionals about where they see the OHS profession in the future. So some of the, the data that came from that was that 84% of OHS professionals believe that there will be an increase in the complexity of work that OHS professionals are engaging in. So it's going to become more complex. So it's going to move from the traditional reporting of data or reporting of injuries, and it's going to become more complex. That means that OHS professionals are going to take up more responsibilities in the future. Okay? And a lot of this change is also going to come from regulatory compliance. Right now, we have some global influences on regulatory compliance. For instance, we have the UN's SDG, which some of you are very familiar with. We also have the ISO 45001. We also have the International Labour Organization, which provides statutes and codes for occupational health and safety practice. So these are all regulatory compliances that are coming up with new ways that health and safety and well-being will need to be managed. Okay? Data management and use of automation, this is something that a lot of industries are investing in. So there's going to be more need for what? For data management. There's going to be use of automation to be able to process this data. And this is going to increase in the future. So that means that the OHS professional has to do what? Evolve. It has to evolve. Otherwise, it will do what? It will disappear. It will become extinct. And so that means that OHS professionals are going to have wider focus. They're not just going to be, one-dimensional. They will have to be multi-dimensional. They will have to be involved in so many other types of value to the organization and to be able to remain relevant. Of course, there's going to be an increased focus in sustainability reporting. Right now, the Nigerian Stock Exchange has mandated that all companies that are listed have to do with submit their sustainability reports. It's no more optional. And of course, you know what that entails. We'll talk about that. And what it means is that there has to be what? Increase in stakeholder collaboration. So the OHS professional cannot exist by himself. He has to interact with, other stakeholders in the industry to be able to understand, gain some of these insights, and be able to also share their own value. And the interesting thing is that OHS is also moving toward to the board and to the C-suite, because now it's becoming not just about reporting injuries, but now with the sustainability expectations or SDG, now companies need more information. Companies need to manage wellness. They need to manage other things that affect occupational health. And all of these will have to come through the OHS professional. So you see now that your input is going to be required. You need to equip yourself for the future. You have to be ready to be able to step into the boardroom. Good. So, having said all of that and set the perspective for the OHS professional in the future of work. How are you going to remain relevant? Like I said, the expectations are what? Are fast changing. So how are you going to remain relevant? It's very important because if we do not ask ourselves this question, we'll all of a sudden find ourselves in that future of work, and we'll find that we have not what? We have not developed ourselves. We have not acquired skills that would help us to be able to survive. And what happens is that if you're not able to provide that, you'll be what? Completely run over and become, extinct. So we're going to look at a couple of things that we need to do or we can do to be able to continue to share that value, to be able to continue to provide that value that will make us relevant in the future of work to the organization. And one of the things that we can do is that we have to start to make OSH as a means to do what? To deliver productivity. This is very, very key. OSH has to deliver what? Productivity. And how can we do that? First, you have to be able to demonstrate that safety is critical to what? To the business success. This is one area that we find a lot of OSH people, wanting. How do you demonstrate that safety is critical to the overall success of the business? There are so many ways that we can do this. You should be able to understand the business aspect. You need to be able to understand how business people think. What does productivity mean for the organization? And how does OHS tie into the bottom line? This is very, very, very important. And I'm sure that some of you can think of a couple of ways. I mean, we say that we are talking about not just, preventing of injuries, but also what? Property loss. Property loss prevention. So when, for instance, you're able to reduce the fire outbreaks due to some of the engineering controls or interventions that you've put in place, what have you invariably done is that you've reduced the number of payouts that your organization has to make, for instance, to the insurance. And what does that do? It reduces your what? Your premium. And this ties into what? To the bottom line. Because you have to pay you have to review your insurance premiums. And if your organization is always making payouts all the time as a result of accidents, as a result of property loss, what happens is that your business is not what? Sustainable. Your business can become what? Extinct. You can go out of business. So what you have to be able to demonstrate this has to come out very, very clearly in the way you present the results that you achieve. You have to be able to show that if you take away safety, then the business is going to do what? Suffer. So that means that OSH has to do what? Complement the business. So you have to be able to, integrate OSH into what? Business performance. This is really very, very important. Now, another factor is that oftentimes it seems as if OSH is in conflict with other business processes. That is why you see a lot of, safety people always quarreling with production. And they keep telling you that even though they say safety first, but it's more production. So it's production. Now, one of the things that we can do is that, of course, businesses are there because they want to produce and they want to sell. And if they don't sell, how is your salary going to be paid? So it's very important that we do not, conflict. So as much as possible, you have to find ways that you can complement. So safety is not there to stop work. I keep telling people, saying stop work does not help the business. Rather, you should think about enabling safe work. It's about enabling safe work. That is what you need to think about. So it's not about conflict, it's not in a competition. It's about safe production. So always say that it's safe production, not safety and production, but what? Safe production. So that means that we can actually produce safely. We can sell safely. So it's all about, integrating safety into everything that the business stands for. And that means coming up with innovation, coming up with ideas that you can use to do what? Streamline, for instance, simple routines that you do. A very simple example is, let's say, your permit to work. So your permit to work, let's say, it takes maybe several hours. Maybe you have a large volume of people who are coming to request for a permit to work. And you find that the production people or the engineering people are complaining all the time to say that they are not getting the permits as quickly as they should. And that becomes a problem. So if you're not able to find ways that you can make it seamless and make it easy for them to obtain those permits and do the risk assessment, they are going to find ways to do what? To bypass it. Or it becomes a tick the box, which doesn't really help anybody. So you have to think about how can we do what? Integrate it, how can we complement whatever they are doing? So maybe they can start to raise the permits the following day. And maybe we could do the risk assessments online. Or maybe we could automate it. There are so many ways that you can start to complement business processes rather than doing what? Competing with them. Okay? Now, another thing that is really very important is how we are able to build the capability in the organization. So the organization has to make certain decisions about operational safety and health, but it is really the responsibility of the practitioner to build that capability. So you have to be able to get people to be competent to make the right decisions for safety and the business. So not just for safety, but also for what? For the business. So the two have to go in tangent with each other. But you have to be able to build that capability. You have to be able to make sure that people understand what the risks that they're exposed to are. They're able to make informed decisions about those risks. And they have to be able to be accountable and responsible for ensuring that they are safe and the people who are working with them are safe. This is really very key. So the capability that you're delivering is making sure and seeing that you're going to have what? Once people are able to build that level of competence, then there is a very lower chance that they're going to be involved in accidents. There is very little chance that there's going to be loss. And what does this do? This helps what? Productivity. This improves the efficiency of the business processes. So that OHS capability is very, very key. So you need to make sure that people are trained. You need to make sure that people understand, have proper insights about the hazards, about the risks that they are exposed to. Now, all of this is all entrenched in the management system. And what it means is that everything has to be systemic. Your risk identification, your risk management, your risk analysis, the processes that you use to manage those risks, or the programs that you have to implement, all of them have to be entrenched in an effective management system. Right now, a lot of organizations are adopting some common management system, like the ISO 45001, which is very good. But it's not just about the documentation and having everything written down, but it's about how all of these processes complement each other, how continuous improvement becomes the watchword. So that means that you have to do what? Continue to do what? Your risk understanding, your risk management. You have to continue to look at the processes, the programs that would really keep those risks in place. And those processes are very, very important. How you manage those processes, how people participate in those processes or programs as the case may be, and how we are continuously improving by providing the feedback, providing the audits, providing the checks, providing the inspections, providing the discussions. So all of that go back into the management system. And another thing about the management system is also about the culture that you have in place. So the difference between certain decisions that are taken to influence OSH in an organization is more around the culture. If you have a culture, if you're in a culture where people don't actually perceive the importance of health and safety, it becomes very difficult to make some informed decisions that will promote health and safety in the business. So the culture is really very key. So whatever you're doing, you have to look at how can you influence that culture, how can you build the culture so that the culture becomes a mature, creates a certain maturity for decisions that will promote and improve operational health and safety. So it's all about making sure that safety is building into productivity, it's building into the bottom line. We're not going to buy a safety equipment and then the business closes. So we have to look at what can we afford? What can we afford? What can the business afford? So all of these are very, very key in ensuring that we are promoting the overall productivity of the organization. Now, the second is yourself as an occupational health and safety practitioner, increasing your organizational value. So, we're moving from a point where organizations don't just want to see a subject matter expert. So, you're just focused on your safety discipline. That's the only thing that you know about. That's the only thing that you get. You're not bringing, you're not contributing to the overall value that the organization perceives. And the only way they can be able to perceive that value is that you become what? Multifaceted. It's a challenge for safety people because we tend to be, we're looking in just one streamlined direction. Risk, 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 risk. Stop work, stop work, stop work. Issue permit to work and so on and so forth. So safety people are not speaking the language of the organization. And one of the first things that you must do as a safety professional that is equipping himself for the future is to start to build your business knowledge. You need to start to understand what the business is, how business people think, and what business process is. If you do not have this, you have to equip yourself with it. It's either you enroll in some courses or you identify mentors that can actually help you to build this knowledge. It is very important for you to understand certain indices that your organization is running to be able to stay in business. How can you be in a business and you don't even know what the gross margin of the organization is? So you're going to be wanting them to buy the latest equipment, but they can't afford it. Their gross margin is in single digits. What is the profitability in the organization? What is the market share of the products? You need to understand these things. And most importantly, you also need to understand the internal business processes. I have encountered some safety people that don't even know the internal processes in their own site. And what does that do is that you're only looking at the physical, what you can see. So you see somebody who doesn't have to be, and you say you're supposed to wear hand gloves. But you don't even understand some of the engineering that is happening inside. How can you do risk assessment when you don't understand processes? How can you provide solutions when you don't understand processes? So the very first step for you is to really have an in-depth understanding of what your business processes are, and also how healthy your business is, and how you can also contribute to the overall bottom line, which is what matters to everybody. The second thing is that you should be able to share your value. This is one thing that we don't do very well. How do you share your value? You have to be your advocate. You have to be able to do what? Declare your milestones. You have to say, this is what we have achieved. So you have to move away from just reporting numbers and saying, we've achieved 1,000 million man hours. The organization does not understand that. What does that mean for them? So as much as possible, try to share the value that you have achieved by doing what? Interpreting them into what? Results that are tangible, that the business people can understand. A lot of them are commercially inclined. So when you're talking about 1,000 or 1 million man hours without accident, you're telling them that this has helped us to do what? Save so and so in what? Hospital bills. Compared to last year when we had 20 people in the hospital, and we had a hospital bill of, let's say, 10 million naira. This year, we've not sent anybody to the hospital, and so there is no hospital bill to be paid. Our insurance premium is going down. We don't have to make so much payouts, and so our insurers are happier with us now. And they're not increasing the premiums that we have to pay. Okay? So you have to do what? You have to share value. You have to look at ways that you can explore to bring value to your organization. For instance, there are certain projects now, for instance, like environment people. There's this waste to wealth program, which is how have we reduced our solid waste to landfill. But not only have we reduced our solid waste to landfill, but the number of trips that the lawman have to come and make every day has done what? Has come down. And so last year we were paying 20 billion for 300 trips. But this year, we are paying only 300,000 because we have been able to reduce the trips. What have you done? We've translated it into what? Naira. That is what? Value. That is value. That is what the organization values. So you have to be able to translate your achievements into value. Share your value. Talk about your value. Now, the next thing is calibrating yourself to the organization. Now, whenever you come into an organization or you step into a new space or you're stepping into the future, always think about where is that organization at this time? Where is their level? You can never be more than what you have. No matter where you're coming from, if you're coming from a multinational and you're happy to start a company, you cannot come and be telling them some things that they don't understand. You're telling them about some advanced things, they're not feeling it. You're disconnected from reality. So that means that you have to understand where they are, what are the expectations of people who are employed. How are you going to match those expectations? What is the roadmap that you are setting up? So this is where we want to be, and this is what we need to do to be able to get there. So this is our roadmap for the next 5 years or for the next 3 years. This is how we are going to get there. This is the investments that we need to make. This is the inputs that I need from you, and this is what you can get from me. So understanding all of this really helps you to be able to do what? Also help that organization. Not just being there, because if you're not calibrating yourself properly, then you're disconnected. You're not adding value, and before you know it, you say, we don't even need you. Okay? And I already talked about exploring opportunities that create value, like looking out for how you can bring in ideas, solve business problems, which are very, very important. So don't just think about only safety problems. Think about how you can solve production problems, or quality problems, or engineering problems. That is how you can do what? Reinvent yourself and make yourself a core, valuable member of the organization. Now, the strategy. Strategy is very important in everything that we do. You cannot come to work every day not having a plan how you're going to, or having a strategy how you're going to achieve your plans. So it starts as a young OSH professional. Always be strategic. Like I said, once you have calibrated yourself to the organization, the next thing is that you have to develop a plan and a strategy. How are you going to get to where you need to get? What are the people that you need to bring into your corner? What are the resources that you need? how are you going to influence? It all starts with what? Be strategic. Otherwise, you're going to do what? Have misaligned priorities and failed expectations. Okay? And having the right mindset is very, very important. For me, I would say that this is one of the most important. Everything is about attitude. If you go in expecting that people should comply with safety, then you're never going to get anywhere. You have to have the right mindset that you are also equally what? Learning. Mindset is about looking at how do we solve this problem. It's a business problem. It's an OSH problem. How do we solve this problem? Okay, yes, this is where it is supposed to be. But what do you think that we can do? So maybe we can meet somewhere in between. So don't always think that you have to be rigid. I get a lot of feedback that safety people are very rigid. They tell you that this is the way and that is the only way. You will become what? In fact, you won't even know what is happening because they know that you are a store shopper. So you won't even know what is happening. You only discover when it has already happened. So see yourself as being more of a team player. Have the right mindset. How do we solve the problem? What can we do? Okay, maybe we want it to be here, but we can't get there now. So this is what we can do to be able to get certain results or measures. So it's about having the right mindset. It's about wanting to learn. Also about what other people are doing. It's also about being empathetic. I also get that feedback a lot that safety people don't show empathy. So the production guy is under a lot of pressure. He's under a lot of pressure. He has to deliver certain targets. And the safety guy is breathing down on his neck. The supervisor is breathing down on his neck. Everybody is breathing down on his neck. You have to be able to, if you want to understand what they do, then you have to walk your mind in their own shoe. So show empathy. Try to understand. And one of the things about showing empathy is that when you show empathy, people tend to do what? They open up. And that way, it's easier for you to do what? To start to change the culture and change the mindset and to influence. But first, you have to show empathy. Show that you care. Show that you have the same what? The same goals. Your goals are not different. Now, like I said, the future of work is all about what? It's fast-paced. Technology, it's moving. Now we're doing virtual meetings, maybe some 2 years ago or 3 years ago. It wasn't even, people weren't even thinking about it. But it's not just about that space. It's about how does that space help you to deliver your work as an OSH professional efficiently and better and more seamless. So what are the processes that you can automate? Most of you or some of you are working in factories and all of that. Work permits, I use that as an example. It takes a lot of time. If you're working with projects, some of you are project-based, right? The process of issuing work permits for where you have so many contractors can take up to 3 or 4 hours. The day is gone, isn't it true? And you have project engineers, they are complaining, they are not happy. And because of that pressure, you're forced to do what? Tick the box. You have to start to think of what are the processes that we can automate. Maybe our permit to work, we can integrate it into our ERP. For some of you who are running SAP or Microsoft Dynamics or some other form of ERP, why don't you bring in your work permit program into that ERP? So that people can do what? Just like they raise work orders, they can simply do what? Raise tickets for permit, and it goes to certain people who have approval, and they can approve it, do the risk assessment, and that's it. So all the paperwork is what? Done. And there are so many other processes. Your audit can now be automated. Your inspections can be automated. So we need to start to leverage that space. Think about some of the processes that are very cumbersome that you can do what? Automate. The next thing is about what? Trend analysis. How many people can give you correct insights about the data they are capturing? That's a question for all of us. If your data is not telling you a story, then you have not started your job. So that means that right now we have to be more what? Data driven. We have to be able to provide analysis. We have to have proper insights about our metrics. So don't just capture numbers and volume of numbers, gigantic numbers that don't make any meaning. It's about understanding the story behind those numbers. Very, very key. And right now, with some of the technology, with some of the automated processes, you can start to do what? Make that very easy. You can create votes on certain criteria or certain KPIs that can actually show you certain charts or trends about how your business is performing in OSH. And last but not the least, there are so many applications now that you can use to do risk prediction. So you don't even need to be, on the field all the time. You can now predict failure. You can predict risk. You can manage maintenance. All on what? Simple applications. So we have to start moving in that direction where we can start to leverage technology to do what? To drive that innovation to improve. Because now we're not just going to be looking at only single things of just reporting units. You're supposed to provide the feedback to your management about what is happening. And you have to do that in a data-driven manner that demonstrates what? Professionalism, and shows that you know what you're doing. Good. I mentioned before about sustainability, and I'm sure that a lot of you are quite familiar with the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals. Okay? And the one that concerns us mostly is around the ESG. That's environment, social, and what? Governance. I'm sure you are aware of that. Now, as OSH is moving just from from safety to what? To health and well-being. I'm sure you guys are aware of that. So it's no more just safety, which most organizations are focused on now, but it's now moving from what? Safety to what? Well-being and health. So that means that as OSH, you need to be able to start looking at other indices of what? Of health. For instance, ionizing radiation. What is the impact? Workplace violence. What is the impact? Even sexual harassment in the workplace. These are all parts of what? Overall well-being that OSH people are going to be needed in the future to start having insights about. And so this is the time that you have to start understanding what these metrics are and how to do what? Capture them. Even climate change, even mental health. So we have to start moving from traditional reporting of lost time injuries, first aid cases, restricted work cases, and start looking at these broader views of overall health and well-being. Because now organizations are required to do what? To report them. And not just to report them, but to have programs that do what? That manage them. That is the future for you. So, can you put the next slide? Message. Okay, so to be able to wrap it up, what are the top 5 takeaways that you can take from everything that I've mentioned? Number 1 is that you have to start to do what? Understand and speak the language of what? The business. You have to develop yourself and make yourself a well-rounded business person, not just a single discipline or subject matter expert. You have to obtain leadership commitments to OSH by doing what? Building strategic alliances. I keep saying that safety people are as influential as the networks that they build. This is one of the key things that you have to learn. You have to build strategic what? Alliances and networks. These are the people, the influential people that make the decisions. These are the mentors. These are the people who can be in your corner, that can improve the perception of how safety is what is perceived. So leadership commitments can only be obtained when you build the right networks, when you communicate properly. And then you make sure that value that is what? That is created is what? Equally what? Captured and visible. So when you create value, make sure you do what? You capture it. Do your own bump. Let everybody know. Declare your milestones. Declare your wins. Okay? And then I've talked about engagement. It has to happen not just with management, but what? The shop floor. You cannot be a safety person and just sitting at your desk. You have to do what? Engage. You have to engage with line managers, supervisors. These are the guys that are going to deliver the results for you. So active engagement, that's communication, that's capabilities that you have to build so that they will take the right decisions when they are faced with risks. Is really very, very important. And then, last but not the least, is being conversant with technological advances. Like I said, now there's a lot of data-driven reporting or insights that can be gained from data. And it's very important that as an OSH professional, that you are not left at the train station. You have to join the train. And that means getting yourself equipped, getting yourself ready, and encouraging your organization to invest in what? Technology. So that brings an end to my presentation.
Thank you very much. Yes. So I'm sure we all enjoyed this session because I know in fact my notes actually reflect and go on and about what I got from the value I got from this session. But I'll start with the audience. Do we have questions? Please, if you do have questions, just raise your hand. We'll take like 2 or 3. So we have Mr. Wali over here.
Thank you very much, sir, for the presentation. Quickly, my question. There is common generalization about HSC management department and issue of surrounding investment and business in the organization. So some used to say that you should also find ways to make in money to the organization. And I mean, personally, I'm always like, it's necessary. There are so many things that encompass this issue of finance in the organization. It's not about what brings money in, but also includes what takes money out, but we are preventing it. So is it compulsory that you must find a way try to sell this so that you also bring in money? Is it really necessary as a professional? Thank you.
Okay, very interesting question. If you recall, I never mentioned about money. I said value. Value doesn't have to be money, but the only thing is that you have to be able to measure it. You have to be able to capture the value that you have delivered or that you have created. So it doesn't have to be money. There are intangibles, and some of those intangibles are not money. But whatever it is that you are doing, make sure. The problem is that you are not capturing the value that you are delivering. And that is where the biggest problem is. So it's not about bringing in revenue, which is what they're saying. Okay? It's not about revenue, but it's about value. Value is what the employer can bank. That is the currency that you can bank with the employer. And that is what are you, so is it in the reduced premiums that you're paying, for instance, in insurance? Is it in the reduced, let's say, hospital bills that you're paying? Okay? Is it in the quicker way that you are managing with your stakeholders, your internal stakeholders, and they're able to deliver their job quicker and more efficiently? So like I said about work permit that delays a lot of time, that is money because contractors are paid by the hour. I hope you know that. Contractors are paid by what they deliver. And so that means money. If you're able to streamline the time that you spend in, for instance, issuing work permits, that is value. But you have to be able to do what? Capture it. And that is why it's very important to show where we are coming from and where we are. And that is why you have to be strategic. You need to have a plan to deliver those values and be able to capture that value. Whatever you do, make sure you capture your value. even if you don't take anything away from here, take this away. Capture your value. Find a way to translate that value into what your organization can do, what can understand, and what they can appreciate. And that is very important. So it's not just about bringing in revenue. OHS is not about bringing in revenue. But there are many ways that you can do what? Cost savings. Do you know that even coming up with ideas or innovation that reduces costs is value? Do you agree with me? And you could do that. That's why you have to be innovative. So it's about capturing that value that you can deliver. That is what is really very, very key for you. And that is why the organization will appreciate you and recognize you. Yes.
I have another question.
Okay.
Do you have anything in the final session? Well, I will have to do that.
Okay, unfortunately, actually, I would say
Okay,
by
so
1
I
p.m.
will ask now. It's about
Yes.
you.
Sorry?
Yeah, I will ask now. It's about you.
Okay.
But I've had a name for quite a long time. But I was working with intelligence for Coca-Cola.
Oh, okay.
And we're talking about the issue of relationship with workers.
Yes.
There is this thing that happens anytime anyone hears, when I was on your site, that Ebuka is coming. Ebuka is coming is always tougher than an independent audit. Everybody starts running. Ebuka is coming. Everybody starts running. So I want to relate that because to me it looks like fear. Like fear. What people were not doing when you were not around. By the time they hear that Ebuka is coming, everybody starts to sit up immediately. So is it a fact that we should not hide that sometimes we need to put that? Yeah, we can be flexible. Yes. But is it from what you have said, what you trying to tell us that we shouldn't be too rigid? But that your Ebuka is coming, it addresses so many issues. So I want you to try and help us passage on that. Thank you.
Well, I don't think our presenter will have to speak on this. But I should tell you that it is a symptom of an active enforcer and compliance or assurance person. It means that he does not want to see a showstopper. He does not want to see a negative thing that can be reported. So that I should see as a sign of performing manager or performing process person or performing HSC professional, because you will not want to tolerate. That doesn't mean it's rigid, correct? It doesn't mean it's rigid. You wouldn't want to tolerate any non-compliance. If you observe the non-compliance in your workflow or in your work process, you can guide you through correcting it. That doesn't mean it's what? But at least for the fact that that thing is being spotted in your workflow, it will be reported. Correct? Does that make him a rigid person? No. So you show empathy, you walk through the team, not walk with impunity or a kind of assertive authority. You walk through. Some of them may not know what to get those observations clear. So you guide them. But I don't see rigidity in that. But what you have just said is a sign in every workplace that that man is really delivering exactly what the business wants.
Let me just, because I found that quite interesting, but I can tell you that that is also a symptom of the maturity of the organization, the maturity of the culture in the organization. For some of you who are familiar with the maturity curve, where organizations will move from being proactive, to being proactive, okay, to being independent, to being interdependent, and so on and so forth. It is that maturity level. So you will find that kind of thing in organizations that are still trying to move or transcend. And it's more like what you call situational leadership, where you have to apply certain type of leadership styles to various situations that call for it. So it's actually not a good indicator, because people should do things, not because someone is there. Okay, so but you find that it also shows that they are on a journey. So that means that they want to do. Maybe it is not so easy for people to comply. And what that tells you as an OSH professional, if you find yourself in that type of environment, is that you have to start to look at ways that you can make safety easy to comply. So most of the time, safety is difficult, and people see that it is difficult. They have to go the extra mile. And that is why I say we have to start doing what? Integrating safety into everything that we do. We shouldn't even have it safety separate. For instance, operators should be the ones doing the inspections, safety inspections, not the safety officer. Because they are the ones who are operating it, that is the ownership. If you look at companies that are running TPM, it's operators that clean. They clean, they lubricate, they inspect, they light their machines every day. Nobody does that for them. The same way for safety. So if that tells you that the culture is not where it should be, and it's your job to look at how can I identify people who can help me to influence? How can we start to understand what are those systemic barriers that are making people or encouraging unsafe behavior? So safety has to be easy to comply. If safety is easy to comply, then people will not do it because you're there, because that becomes of what? Of life. So it's indicative of the culture. So I believe that that culture is transcendent, and it shouldn't be where it is as a standpoint. Thank you. Yes.
And it's from Fred. Say, where do you draw the line between empathy and discipline?
Good. So empathy, not confuse empathy and indiscipline, so to speak. So you can still discipline your child without losing empathy. Do you agree with me? So you have to discipline your child, but you're doing it in an empathetic way because you love the child. You love the child. So discipline is very, very key. If you do not have discipline in the workplace, there will be what? Chaos. And with chaos comes disaster and inefficiency and governance issues and losses and injuries and so on and so on. So discipline is an integral part of every organizational internal processes. Any organization that does not have a procedure or a code of conduct, that organization is going to fail. But you do not discipline people because you hate them or you don't like them or you are doing it from an empathetic point of view. So for a purpose. So that means feedback has to be what? Constructive. It has to be positive. When you see somebody doing something, you start with what? Positive reinforcement, positive feedback, and then some of the things that you can do better. So that way, even if you have to apply discipline, the person understands that you're doing it because there has been a deviation from the standard. Exactly.
And we have a comment on.
Thank you, everybody. Okay. Good morning, everybody. My name is Peter. Thank you very much, Mr. Luka, for that beautiful. Like this. Okay. But I'd just like to thank you for how you handled that question. And to say that there is a difference between rigidity and ensuring that people do what they're supposed to do. Compliance mindset. Rigidity, it might just mean that you are not ready to shift. You are not ready to consider the other person. Meanwhile, what he does, I can see that because he has helped my situation in many ways. I used to be one of the very serious contractors for NBC for like 8 years. In fact, if not that I left the organization, there's still a lot going on. And the fact that just like the kind of COVID helps my people to have their heads together in a And I'll tell you why that was important to me at the time. That Ebuka is coming. I also said it in one of the meetings that there's no safety guy there. It's going to, even if you don't think what I'm saying now, it's not going to allow you guys to walk when you get there. I just needed to say that. But when I now went to Ebuka the last meeting, I said there are some demands that people are making that we are not going to be able to provide. Now, this is where the difference between rigidity and compliance mindset now. We were able to talk things through. We were able to say, okay, no, this one, I mean, you guys are a company that's already doing ABC, so you don't need to provide ABC. That is not rigidity. That is that we want people to do the right thing. So, I mean, for instance, myself, if I'm on site, you have to do it right. The fact that I'm ready to listen to you does not mean that I see you climbing the rickety ladder and I will let you do it. And the way you are doing safety very well, all of us know that. Sometimes you change your name to many things. If your name is so strong that you couldn't change it like you couldn't change it, then your name becomes safety on the side. In a lot of places, nobody knows my name, it just comes safety. So at the end of the day, my point is zero tolerance is very important, but not being rigid means that the safety should be built into the process. So that, just like you said, housekeeping, for instance, should not be a standing because safety is the right way to do every job. So we make the safe way the only way. And when that happens, your name will be echoing. And like you said, when the culture grows, your name will no longer echo. Because it has now entered everybody's bloodstream. So everybody's name is now echoing. That's the generative culture. Thank you very much. Let you add that.
Okay. Any other question?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I remember my former mentor, Tony Atta. One comment usually made says feedback is a gift. And in our organization right now, one of the things we're trying to do is to see it as a big issue. See how we can be able to get the system. Sometimes we observe that people do things out of fear. Why they're doing it, a big mistake. So we're now seeing how the leadership can now twist their manner of approach to remove fear when they are trying to push the message. So, for me, I just feel this is a feedback.
Yes.
And just like what others like I said, you are an HSE professional, your job is to ensure it's compliant. But then, I think we should take this over and say, okay, fine, how can we do it different? If one person to person is saying, I'm afraid when I hear this name, and then that means there's something that we need to do. Just let me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, very interesting.
Something.
Anybody?
Something I think about mine.
I did an online remark.
Yeah, always from Zoom. We have tools that and those with questions.
One more person. And
Question,
I'll just say something. I'll just.
Okay, Mr. Kim Mustafa on Zoom.
Yeah.
Please, can you unmute yourself and share your comment on that question?
Okay, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. My name is George Olomi, and I want to thank Mr. Ebuka for that. It is in the right direction which safety is going. And the little comment I want to make is with respect to that question. The gentleman talked about Ebuka is coming, Ebuka is coming. And the facilitator mentioned a couple of things that I loved. But let me just re-emphasize it. When you have a situation like that, there are two leading indicators. The two leading indicators are, one, it indicates the nature and state of the safety culture in that organization. Ebuka mentioned it. Secondly, is a leading indicator of your leadership style. So the mantra I want us to go home today is this quote. This quote says, build a team so strong you don't know who is the boss. If you build your safety team, your safety culture in your organization such that when your visibility is there in the plant or wherever you are going or whatever you are doing and inspecting, people don't just herald you and say, Ebuka is coming, and everybody is running everywhere to do things happening. No. So a company is a thing, a department is a thing. When you build such a culture and you build a safety leadership style such that the attitude, the behavior is ingrained in these persons, they don't even notice you being around. And that's what it should be the case. So when you have an organization where the boss is coming or a supervisor is coming and you are looking at it as a safety police, you are still in the past. The current safety attitude and approach and strategy is such that we will have to do things, own it, take ownership, and live by what we talk and preach, the things they teach you. So always remember, as a safety professional or OSH professional, build a team so strong you don't know who the boss is. They shouldn't just know you because you are coming and everybody is singing Ebuka is coming. That's just the comment I want to add. Thank you, I'm done. I hope my network allowed me to finish it. I've been having terrible network here.
We heard you loud and clear. Well done, Mr. George.
That is trying to commit suicide. Someone who is engaged in highly unsafe behavior, that shouldn't stop. I mean, that's even common sense, and it shouldn't just be the prerogative of a safety person. It should be everybody. When we mean stopping work is not seeing yourself as someone who will enable safe work, but someone who is always guarded or, in quotes, conscious of risk. Is there any, I want to ask us a question, is there any workplace that does not have hazards? Well, but we still work and we still deliver results. It's the same way with risk. Risk, we can mitigate risk, we can manage risk through several ways and through various means. And so it always starts with asking yourself that question, how can we make work safe? If you go with that mindset, then your mantra is not just to stop everything because somebody is going to fall down from the ladder or somebody is going to fall from the scaffold. That's not your mantra. If you let that lead you, then you're going to be constantly blocking. So you have to look at ways, you have to be innovative, you have to look at ways of trying to enable work, but enabling work in a safe manner. That is what the new OSH professional will be known for. Like we said, there are many traditional ways that we have done in the past. But if we're looking at the new way of work, the new way of work means that you have to think of different ideas to do things that you used to do in the past. I mean, if you're living in the past, even young children these days, they will challenge you. They will challenge you. They will tell you that this is not how they think it should be. So that means that you have to apply innovation. So don't go with the mantra, don't lead with stopping work or being a showstopper. Lead with how can we enable safe work. And it should be an ongoing discussion and participation because you do not see it all. You can only see from your perspective. Yes, you are there to guide, but they are the people who are doing the work and they have the experience. So you have to build on that experience. You have to look at ways that you can enable safe work. So it has to be a participatory thing. This is the new way of thinking. So don't just see yourself as somebody who's coming there to stop work all the time. You have to move and see how you can enable safe work. Of course, if someone is engaged in unsafe act, we should approach the person. But then again, it should be more around understanding why the person is even doing it and how the person can do it better. People engage in behaviors not because that they are bad, but sometimes because of the conditions that enable them to do it. And that's what you need to understand. Thank you.
Please, your round of applause for the same. Thank you very much for that excellent presentation. Very long, very insightful. But me personally, I learned a whole lot, and I believe also our professional coming up are also, sorry, she wants to the paparazzi thing, okay? So, as an immediate past secretary of ASSP and the present chairman for the Young Emerging Professional, I would like to use the opportunity to introduce Mr. Mbata, please, just to do the honor of presenting this award to the greats. The greats. Me, I'm not afraid of the great Mr. Ebuka, please.
It's my pleasure to perform this role this morning. I must tell you that I benefited from this content. I mean, it's a wow session. So I have so many takeaways to go home with. And on behalf of the ASSP Young Emerging Professionals Interest Group, they have asked me to convey their appreciation to you. And they said that everything went well, that your lecture is definitely going to be like a hub for our discussion this afternoon, today, and it's going to stimulate. We appreciate. So, on behalf of ASSP, the Young Emerging Professionals, we present this to show appreciation for a very wonderful presentation. And we know that partnership going forward with this group. Please, whenever they call you, whenever we call you, please do make yourself available.
Thank you very much. So, moderator, over to you.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Wow, that was a fully packed, I'll call it a TEDx session because I learned a lot. Like, wow. You know, one thing that I picked was when you said that safety is also a broad position. So that even young emerging professionals can also rise in their political ladder. They can also go up in the ladder with safety. So let us take this profession, this safety profession seriously. And those that are not yet safety professionals that want to, please do so. While the session was going on, we had some important personalities that came in. I would like to recognize them especially. I would like to recognize Mr. Julius Damon. Thank you very much, sir. We really enjoyed your answers to the discussion. Thank you so much, sir. We would also welcome, representing the World Safety Organization, Mr. Soji Olalo, represented by Mr. Musu Sean. We would like to welcome you. You give a goodwill message, Justin.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm here to represent the WSO Nigeria President, Mr. Soji Olalo. An address by the Director of World Safety Organization, National Office for Nigeria, Mr. Soji Olalo, on the occasion of the 2022 ASSP Nigeria Charter for young emerging professionals and protocol and recognitions. I extend warm fraternal greetings from the management, members of World Safety Organization Nigeria, National Office of Nigeria, WSO, SAFA, Safety and Emergency Response Network. Let me thank the President, Executive, esteemed members, and Workshop Planning Committee of the American Society of Safety Professionals, Nigeria Chapter, for inviting us to be part of this impactful workshop. ASSP has, in the course of over 100 years, led the charge as a public safety organization committed to promoting safety culture, safety advocacy, environmental safety, and workplace safety. Your legacy and impact across the globe and in Nigeria is visible, and your commitment to partnership and collaboration to drive positive change is highly commendable. Learning, they say, is a lifelong endeavor, and those in the safety professions are abreast with the fact that learning must be continuous, consistent, and comprehensive. I am glad that today ASSP is fostering safety development through a thoroughly planned workshop like this. Workshops like this should dot our landscape, because the more we learn, the better we get. I am convinced that all young emerging professionals participating in this workshop would leave here better educated and well furnished to contribute their own quota in making safety a way of life, like we do daily at WSO. I encourage all participants to stay focused and prepare their minds and hearts to embrace new ideas and also express new thoughts as you are taught. Commit to not only understanding what you will be taught, but put them into practice, exhibiting courage and fortitude to make changes wherever it may be required. Do not pack up the same parking lots where you forbear packed up. Ask yourself, how can I make things better? Pursue excellence and refuse to accept the status quo. Analyze, investigate, ponder, inquire, question, profile, and provide new answers and solutions to every day's problem, so that today would be the day we all dreamt about, a safer day for everyone, young, old, rich, or poor. This is your sacred obligation as a young safety professional. Do not compromise the standards. I recognize that there is a certain ease in doing what everyone else does. It is not stirring the homes. Sorry, it's not stirring the hornet's nest, and remaining aloof so you don't rock the boat. My friends and colleagues, that attitude has destroyed and impoverished us as a nation and a people. It has led to so many avoidable deaths and has left us broken and insecure. The time to change the narrative is now. If you do your part, and I do mine, and we challenge ourselves to excellence, professionalism, faith in ourselves and our country, we will undo our past. You all young emerging professionals are our opportunity to get things right. Somewhat, you are our last card. We are betting seriously on you and holding our breath to see you take up the mantle of leadership and restore our pride as a people and as a nation. The whole world is watching you. God is also very interested in your journey, and He is ready to grant you guidance for the wondrous tasks ahead. The question is, are you ready to take the first and vital step? Think on this. Thank you for your kind attention and do enjoy the rest of the program. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sochi, for that wonderful charge to young emerging professionals. Pursue excellence and refuse to accept the status quo. The time
is now. And thank you very much, Mr. Sochi, for ably representing Mr. Sochi. I don't know if my voice is projecting enough. Can we hear me from the back? Okay, great. So we would also be inviting Mr. Temitope Udele from the National Coordinator of Nairobi Africa Division. But we'd like, maybe when you know how soon the lights come, so that we can hear you. Oh, you know what? We hope you're having a good time, everyone.
Great. So welcome, Mr. Temitope Udele. Yes, sir.
Morning, sir. Morning, Mass. My name is Temitope Udele. So I'm also representing OSH. I love this influencing the next generation of OSH professionals. It's very, very risky. And there's something you must note. In those days, we were not pursued for all this type of conferences. Especially free conferences. I was never opportune in those days because we only have this one. Then, we did not have IOSH, we did not have ESSP, WSO, yes, it was there, but it was some of that now. But now we have a lot that you young professionals, including myself, because I'm still young, as you can all see, I'm very, very young. So, we have all these platforms that we actually learn from. There's something that I'm tagging lifelong learning. We professionals of nowadays, what do? We so much believe in academic qualifications. When you have a when you have neighbors, you believe that you have been there, there is nothing else. Again, it is a lie. Yes, I'm at the back of the mind. I'm not a fan of certification, though I have certifications, which we all must have, but you should not believe in that certification. You must engage yourself in lifelong learning. And one of the ways why we are here today, because we are going to learn from different professionals, and that is the one thing that I've actually grew me in life. I learned from different people. I was talking with Abba last week. I said this conference is for young professionals, and I said I'm also young. He said, "Okay, you are not young. I am young." And I've learned from people today, and I've also learned from different people, from Mr. Fred Bata and from others that have contributed. So please, we don't have to have this at the back of our mind. Then one thing that I've studied, and Bishop Buka has also attributed to, is we OHS professionals, we always see ourselves as a stand alone. Stand alone. We don't like to integrate with other departments. That has really been an obstacle that we guys will have to work on. We shouldn't see ourselves as what? Stand alone. In our organization, they always see us as HSC. They don't want to involve with other departments. That is how, that was how I started back. And that was what I learned from my sessions, that HSC should always be on your own. But ongoing, I now see that it shouldn't be so. Do you understand? We shouldn't be alone. We should strategic. In my place of work, where I work, because I'm still at the I am being seen as a key maker. Yes. Why? Because I carry everyone along. And if you know what Jagaban is saying, I know we all know Jagaban, not Jagaban of 650, but Ashimaju Bola Ahmed. I know very, very soon I will become an entity. Do you understand? We OSH professionals, where do we see ourselves next? So many of us want to enter, we want to either enter the consultant and the lecturer. We don't want to be at business end. I want to end my career as being an MD, not an MD of my own consulting company. No, not an MD of health and safety organizations. No, MD of a what? Multinational organization. And that means what I must be one strategy. You understand? So we OHS professionals, we must be at that end. We must be involved. Let us be involved in politics. Enough is enough. We have OHSP in the House, the Senate is not yet passed. Why? Because we are not involved. And we have young guys. We have young people, senior House of Assembly, House of Reps. We have young people. We have 30. We have, people have 28 old guys as a commissioner. Lagos State, and we do not have any OHS professionals there. Lagos State Safety Commission is there. Why is it that we've never been the end of that commission? Why? It's because of what? Standing low. I don't want to get myself involved. I will only involve when it is safety issue. When it is not safety, I will not be involved. And that is the issue that we are facing. And that is what is still keeping us where we are. So we have to move away. And this can only be done by we, the young generation, by we, the next generation. And another thing that I've also seen that the way we present ourselves, it is also an issue. Yes, I'm not trying to embarrass ourselves, but we OHS professionals don't dress well. Yes, I'm being sincere with us. I'm not trying to embarrass anyone. At our places of work, we do not dress well. And there's something that says, you really see the what? Is what? The way you look is the way you are going to address you. In our places of work, we just wear some shirt and shoulder and just put reflective and behind visibility vest. Some of the visibility will even look very patterned. We believe that we are it's because the company is not doing it. It's because the company is not giving me the safety shoes, so I always wear anything like that. No, you have to look presentable. That is when your MD is actually aggressive. We the next generation to see ourselves as professionals, not experts. There's a difference between being an expert and professional. In those days, we always have experts, but now we should be more professional. And what is the difference? Ethics. Ethics, that is different between being an expert and a professional. So please I'm just encouraging us. We have to be professional in every of our lives. Thank you.
It's a round of applause for him again. So much passion. We have to be professional, not expert, right? Are you committed to being a professional? You are committed, can I see your hand up? Or you still want to remain, like I said, please a round of applause for yourself. So on this note, we now waste much of your time. We have one of our great personality here. It's a great honor for you to make our time to come and see what we are doing and also wish us well. Please With great privilege and honor, I'd like to introduce to you the East Fund President, Mr. Kaiser, to come and give his quick message. Please, a round of applause.
Good afternoon, professional colleagues, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I want to apologize for coming in late. It was due to public power failure. The flight was cancelled, so I had to struggle to ensure that I book another flight with higher cost. And based on that, I am a bit late. But I am very, very early to the occasion. So once again, I apologize for coming very early. Thank you very much. My name is Kaiser Amy, the National President, Institute of Safety Professionals of Nigeria, taking the way forward. Just like my brother just said, being a professional, who are you? Do you have the relative motive, the experience, the skill, the passion for it, and for having a topic that will have to influence the entire next generation? We need to have those keywords that he just used, being a professional. First and foremost, I want to appreciate the SSP for coming up with this interesting topic, that the young are the next generation. I don't know whether Badmus is here. My main presidency is one of them. I will tell him, you are the next generation, you are the people to take over this generation. It is not persons like me, but fortunately, I'm privileged to be here. It's a privilege, it's not a right. So ASSP, for coming up with a beautiful team, influencing the next generation of occupational safety and health professionals, I want to wish you all the best for organizing this and grow the profession as a whole. Institute of Safety Professional is your mother, father, body in the country which you have already an MOU with, and we are in our own governing board ensure that all safety professionals in the country come together as a body. We have also engaged every other professionals around to ensure that whatever they are doing, provided they are propagating the safety profession in Nigeria, please allow them to do it. One day, we must come together in a roundtable conference. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, keep the flag flying so that at the end of the day, we'll have the biggest safety body in the world, the Institute of Safety Professionals. They will continue to wish you all the best. Now, talking about influencing the system, do you have a passion? Let me ask us. Do you have the conviction to be a professional? Do you have the right motive to be a professional? Do you have the perseverance? Do you have the ethics and the honesty to be a professional? Do you have that action-oriented talent to be a professional? As a young professional, you should be fighting, you should be talking about having that passion for the profession. And if you don't have that passion, you are not there. There is a cause, there is an interest, ability to differentiate having a cause and an interest. As far as I am concerned, we are overwhelmed by interest. Thereby, we are not reasoning out of ourselves again. The interest we have may benefit the next man, may not benefit the next man. As far as interest is concerned, it is about the benefit of the mankind. But in Nigeria, sorry to say, the interest we have is personal. It is not for the group. And as young professionals, for you to have that passion, you must have the right cause. not interest. The interest must be for all of us. Secondly, I want us to look at the duty of employees. Young professionals, please listen and listen good. The duty of employees says you work for the safety of for the health and safety of yourself and that of others in the workplace. Go back again. What does the law of nature say? The law of nature says, love your neighbor as thyself. So the basic principle, your working basic principle should be love your neighbor as yourself. And that's why when we came on board with the team, I have some of my team members here. I told them, do not discriminate anybody as far as the safety profession is concerned. Do not, provided they are propagating safety, allow them to go ahead with it. And I could see most of the time people will want to use some manipulations, which is negative to influencing. Please don't let us be manipulated into wrong areas. Don't let us fall into wrong hands. Don't sell out. Those are negative influences as far as occupational health and safety is concerned. So avoid selling out. Rather, think of perseverance. Think of action you should take. Think of things that will make the profession to grow. Now, as we go ahead, we'll be able to unveil certain words that will be imbibed into every Nigerian. No matter the profession you belong to, it will imbibe into that. And by the special grace of God, I want to use this opportunity to inform this house that come 24th to 26th of August 2022 at Benin, the Institute of Safety Professionals is organizing a 3-day professional development stroke annual AGM in Benin. And our first port of call on the 28th of this month is to visit the governor. And if the governor will be in attendance, I don't see why young safety professionals will not be in attendance. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you for giving me the privilege. I want to, of course,
That's not loud enough, please. Let's start. We want to say a very big thank you to our father, Mr. Keza AB, for that wonderful charge to us. Thank you very much, sir. Now it's time to hear from those that have walked the path. You know, it's those that have gone before us, they have succeeded, and we as young emerging professionals, we can all learn from them. So we'll go to the storytelling, the career success story. I said storytelling. Yeah, it's storytelling, so maybe we'll do some story here, right? So it's time to do the career success stories. And to moderate that part, we're going to be inviting Mr. Abano Isapa to do that for us.
Good morning, everyone. Once again, for our story. The first person we have on this is Mrs. It's Mrs. Angela Okoma. So our screen is going to come up while I read through our profile and as she's walking to the podium. Mrs. Angela Okoma is a BCSP certified safety professional, a chartered health and safety professional, a fellow of the Institute of Safety Professionals of Nigeria, a chartered member of Nigeria Institute of Management, a professional member of the American Society of Safety Professionals, and a certified protection officer with over 15 years industry experience in health, safety, and security practice, spread across critical government institutions, oil and gas industries, logistics, firms has developed and implemented strategic programs that have helped in effectively ensuring safe and secure workplace and workforce in highly volatile and difficult terrains. Mrs. Angela is highly experienced in developing top-notch HSS policies, conducting sophisticated safety inspections, risk management, accident investigations, fleet safety management. She has recorded several remarkable successes in work-related hostage negotiations / kidnap cases. We need to I want to take that again. She has recorded several remarkable successes in work-related hostage negotiations / kidnap cases. We need this enough. Possesses positive attitude toward change and embrace new challenges with tact. She believes and promotes system of transparency. She believes in communication, integrity, and accountability. She is currently working as a senior manager, security and safety in Federal Inland Revenue Service, Nigeria. She is married and a mother of 2 lovely daughters.
So as he was reading my profile, something came to my mind. I was like, so where are all these guys? The journey of life. She didn't tell you that when I was going for a course like he came, before I returned home, my daughter was dead. Part of the story. He didn't tell you that I had a child born with a bone disability for 7 years. And while I was in orthopedic hospital, I sat for, prepared for CSP exam and passed. You know what CSP is, right? That's the highest safety qualification in America. I was in orthopedic hospital when, I was in orthopedic hospital with my daughter when I became a chartered member of marriage. I was homeschooling my daughter in orthopedic hospital. Never told you that I was the mother of children, supposed to be a mother of children, but I lost one of them while I was on my way to work as a security personnel. And I came out with 2. Those were part of the stories. I wasn't born with a silver spoon like that. So if I can make it, you too can make it. I remember when I was a young, strong, excited when I joined NIS. So let me start the story. The first thing that comes to mind when people ask me, what would FRS? Senior manager. And you are the, there was a time last 2 years, there was strength in this particular lady. They see my yacht and CSN. And when I call and they say she works with FRS, and everybody will be like, I said, seriously? That means you have not comprehended what HS is all about. The last speaker said there is a shift. It's not there is. There has been a shift several years ago, but some people refuse to shift. They felt everything about HSC is in oil and gas and multinational. There has been a paradigm shift to well-being. And that is where a lot of people are migrating into, and there are so many opportunities there. So, as a young undergraduate, this is how my story started. I read biochemistry. So, in my final year, my supervisor called me and said, you are from Delta State. I said, yes. He said, do you know that you are going to be very unfulfilled if you become a biochemist working in the lab? I said, why? He said, because most of your colleagues are going to work in oil and gas, and when they come with their big salaries, you'll be so frustrated. I said, so what do you want? He said, so I'm going to start you on a path. HSC, I don't know how you're going to go about it, but I know there is a path called HSC. So I want you to do a project on environmental toxicology. I said, okay, so I work on the effect of fuel toxicity on the kidney, liver of rats, for those of you that ask people to do projects for me. So when I started the project, my eyes was open. Most of the work I was seeing were about toxicology in Ogoni, in various lands in Niger Delta, and I picked interest. So, but did I start off immediately? No, because I had no guide. And unfortunately, NYC sent me to medical. And while I was there, my dream was still high. I kept dreaming that one day I would go back to the station. So when I returned to Warri, while there, I was busy making money, doing everything that my hands can do. I'm a very good teacher. So I was teaching and also working with my biochemistry certificate as a pharmaceutical surgery. So when I came back to Warri, and I kept asking questions. I didn't even know that right in my family, we have people that have idea of safety profession. So I met them and said, this is what I want to be, safety profession, so that you'll be as wretched as I am. I said, just guide me. And they said, okay, we'll help you now. We'll link you up to one contractor in Shell. You go and write. I don't know if you remember that exam they used to write in Shell. So other generation will do. There used to be a certification exam for you to be a safety officer in any Shell contract. So when I got there, they said, have you done level 3? I said, no, which one is level 3? From there, I went to NIC. And I did my JD, I did my level 3, I did the certification, and I started. So when I started, I saw one safety officer, 20 years, contractor staff. I said, this is true, they are poor. This is what I want. How long have you been here serving the safety officer? So why have you not become a share staff? They say, they don't convert us, but we are hoping we are fighting the union that we will soon be converted. That was the day I started planning my exit. I said, I will not be among this generation. So I asked someone, you are a biochemist and now you are working with share. How did you do it? Okay, Angela, I'm going to expose you. But one thing you will do for me is go and join this school, NIC. I said, are you a member? I said, no, but I'm a member of something greater because I studied. But in Nigeria, go and do it. So I joined, like this small girl. I went there. I sat and I started as a graduate member. Again, for those of you that with 2 years experience, you want to start from associate or membership straight. I started my journey as a graduate member. My first registrar is here. And whenever they are going for conference, I will save from January to conference time and attend. I avoided the temptation of being a handbag to a successful professional man because I knew what I wanted. And I would go and attend and learn. And when I see people speaking, I say, wow, this person is not looking wretched. I want to be like them. So then, open up my mind to opportunities. I would ask, where are you working? So I'm working in this place. This one, I would say I'm working in this place. So, okay, that means there are offices in all these places for what? Safety professionals. And then, someone told me, why not join ASSE? That you have a network. But what I was looking for was network, right? So I joined the game. But when I joined ASSE, then they didn't have these young emerging professionals. All the people I interacted with were people that were looking for visa to America. After 4 years of pain, I'm going to be as raw as possible. After 4 years of pain, I left ASSE. I said, this is not what I wanted. So I continued with ISPON. So after a while, I wanted to put up a circular, or my first circular, please. There is a circular that is trending. I saw something similar to this in 2008. I saw that when the national policy for OSH was coming up, a lot of organizations started panicking. They started setting up safety departments. MRS, CPN, most of them started setting up the safety department. I said, wow. I started seeing the adverts on papers. So I applied. And when I applied, fortunately for me, during my journey, I told you I was doing everything that my heart found to do. I used to write exam with Dragnet. I would pay 5,000 and go and write with Dragnet. Film consulting. They used to do exam for private candidates that want to be exposed to their exam. So on the day of the exam, I saw that it was Dragnet. And this is an exam I have written with my own money. And when the time came, I passed and I got into FRS on merit. And because I had built up capacity, I was a member, the saw that I was learning. The conferences I've attended, I was speaking beyond my age. I was speaking beyond my years because I was dining with elders. They started me off with my qualifications, they started me off as an assistant manager. So that's why you see me young here. When I was 38, I was already a senior manager, security safety. So I started off. And each time there was, as I was transiting, I was also going with my ISCOM. I would convert to associate. From associate, when it's 3 years, I would convert. I was doing everything and I was writing all my projects the way it was stipulated. So whenever I got into FRS, the challenge came. And what was the challenge? I find out that it was not the traditional safety I was used to in oil and gas. The last speaker said something. When you come into an organization, vary your expectations and blend with what is on ground. I saw that for me to be able to succeed, I need a blend of security. Don't be distracted. They have already gotten to their heights. You are climbing. So I said, so what do I do? I discovered that these people are more interested in security than they were in safety. I had to bury myself to understudy and learn security. I started security. That is speaking the language of your organization. Somebody said, how do I convince them that I'm making money for them? Don't worry, by the time they kidnap one person and you go and rescue the person, they will learn to listen to you, right? So provide value so that whatever message you bring, people would want to listen. So while I was there, I did some courses. I got my CPO, Certified Protection Officer. So I was actually going for my CPP when my daughter died. So, and behold, you know what it is like. This woman, why will you want to be in this kind of profession that is male dominated? I did tell you that almost all the courses I went for, from my CPO to my CSE to most of them, I used to be the only female. But I was not deterred because I had a dream. So when it came up, I started building my security profession. My security profile started rising in the organization. I became a household name in FRS. So I knew that it was time for me to start preaching a message. And I started my message from well-being. Did you understand me? The need of that time was well-being. Fortunately for me, management of insurance was under me. So I see the records. I see what happened. I see the death. I see the death pattern. So I could make something out of it. And I started presenting them. One day I went to present a speech. I started doing a lot of awareness, coming out with a lot of awareness program for people to understand what HSE is. And I told them, I gave them calculated the value of group life. You know what group life insurance, that is what they pay when you die. I told somebody, I calculated each of them, their entitlement. I said, don't you know that some of you are Yahoo in disguise? And they were amazed. I said, yes, you are ritualists, but unfortunately, some of you are killing yourself so that your family will benefit, because group life insurance is the only insurance that you don't benefit from. It's your next of kin that benefits from it. So that caught their attention. And they started asking questions. So what do we do? Okay, let's work on your economics. Let's work on your stress level. Let's work on your occupational health issues that are surrounding our workplace. And for me to be able to do that, I was a middle management staff. I had my bosses. So I had to tell them, don't you think you guys, this department is security and safety. Now that this occupational policy thing, you know, Nigeria, we always have policy somersaults. Just when organizations were trying to buy into it again, there was a somersault. And so most organizations, they started drifting away. So, but we that had to look for a way to revive it. So I called them. I was like, okay, I saw that they weren't even understanding. Then I made sure we bring in the WASH as a criteria, one of our career progression criteria, and the WASH was brought in. So when each of them started attending a WASH training, they had a better understanding, and they started listening to me more. And before you know, I started getting more ambassadors. By the time I got into FRS, I wasn't the only member of this one. But as I'm talking to you today now, we have a lot of persons that are in this one. FRS today, we are among the federal government agencies that have the highest number of the WASH IGC qualified, surprisingly. Because when I came down, I started speaking their language, and with time, I started converting them to start speaking my language. Security, safety management, OSH management doesn't have to be first aid cases, incident rate. Look at the need of your organization. So there is this circular that came up. How many of you have seen it? What did you make of this circular? I'm going to round up very soon. That circular means that there are going to be opportunities in a lot of government organizations for safety personnel. How prepared are you to work in a place like this? Most of the templates you are going to be using are going to be very organic. That is where a lot of you get frustrated when you come into a non-traditional multinational. Your templates are going to be organic because they will fit into the exact workplace that you know. How prepared are you? So what are some of the challenges I had? I know you may want to know. One was the fact that a lot of my templates, procedures, and policies I got from the oil and gas were not implementable. Because one, unlike oil and gas that you have the HSC managing the training, in typical civil service or agency and parastatal, another department will be handling your training. So you recommend to them. And if they don't see it as important, even if you say this is the training need of these people, your training needs might not fly. Some of your traditional functions in HSC are also given to human capital. In some agencies, they are given to the medical teams. So how do you harmonize? There was a particular document that we needed to plan, our first aid policy. And do you know what kept that document? Who will be the custodian of the first aid management? So I now told them, the different departments were struggling. I said, why not we use the phrase, we will collaborate with this, that, this, so that this policy can at least be signed. When you are faced with this, how ready, how willing will you be to negotiate? So you have to open up your mind to learn. You have to open up your mind to relearn. And the only way you can do that is to network properly. Another thing that also affected us was the lack of OSH legislation in place. So, and these are agencies that are not seeking for contracts. So when you are found in such a place, please and please, what helped me was persuasion, because they have nothing to gain or lose by not implementing OSH. Persuasion and bringing everything down to naira, to value, to something that they can relate with. And the 5 basic things that helped me in my career: mentorship. I sought for mentorship at every of my steps. Secondly, volunteering. Please, if you have the opportunity to volunteer, don't hesitate to do so. I give an example with peace. When we had our wives workshop, she was among the first to attend. And the person that was supposed to moderate that day came very late. And I asked her whether she could. None of us knew that she was a seasoned moderator. And she took it up. I'm sure today you are enjoying her, right? Then another thing I did was preparedness. Please prepare for opportunities. You might not be paid what you are worth now, but a time will come, that knowledge, that skill will take you from the gate to the boardroom. Then number 4, please set your priority right. You can't tell me you cannot pay for 5 naira training when you are wearing 10 naira gold. Please set your priority right. There is a time to sow and there is a time to reap. Defer your immediate satisfaction for the sake of that greater thing you are seeking for. Then number 5, respect those that are ahead of you in the industry. Even if you are earning more than them, even if you are in a place, because there are some places that their goodwill can take you to that you can't take yourself to. And I plead with you all, no matter where you are right now, don't give up on yourself. Keep networking, keep adding value to yourself, because in due season, you too will leave that place you are and be celebrated, and the world will ask you for your story. Last year I won 3 awards. I want you to post, just when I was about coming, I got something from my boss. I was celebrated as the most innovative brain in my department in Federal Energy Registration. I refuse to be rigid. I refuse to be the conventional OSH practitioner. I need them to enjoy working with OSH practitioners. If I can do it, you can do it. And for you females, I want to tell you something. Please, don't be the reason why another woman will not be given an opportunity in your place of work. Stop all those taking permissions when it's not necessary. You are not different from your male counterpart. I've had time when I gave birth to my twins. 1 week after, I was sent to the field on a hostage negotiation. I had every reason to say I wouldn't go, but when I look at the women behind me, I say no, I will have to do it so that I will not be the reason why another woman will not get that job. I was 9 months old. How many of you have been to Tinapa? When I had an assignment there and I was to give security coverage, my beats were about 20, and I would patrol those beats morning and evening, every day, 9 months pregnant. If I can do it, you can do it. Work on yourself and be the best that you can be. I'm open for people that are sincerely in need of mentorship. A lot of you mistake mentors for sponsors. One thing I never did was ask my mentor for help financially. The network they give to me is more than enough. But some of yours, mentees, the first thing you ask for is recharge card. You are blocking yourself. Leave that and seek for what matters, like matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Angela Coleman, for this very, very impactful story session. In fact, your experience has been one that has motivated all of us. I'm speaking from the background, like it goes around for everybody here. So thank you so much, ma'am. Really appreciate you. I don't know if anyone has questions to ask Madam Angela. Okay, there are questions. Maybe I'll put it next to you. Okay. So you just introduce yourself before you ask your question. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Shunei Razak. I work with the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment. I'm the factory inspector, professional health and safety department. And it's not questioning me, I just want to contribute to what she said. Truly, it's a wonderful experience that you have told us. And concerning the Sabuma issue was earlier, initially, as Federal of Labor, we have a factory inspectorate division. It was later when the likes of our former directors, Saru Dadi, Dr. Yamata, Dr. Paul, Lee, so we came up with this idea that this should be, come on, sir. So that we introduce things that we mentioned something earlier that there are openings to all government agencies now, not only Shell, also private organization and can go to all those operational health and safety departments now in all government agencies. So it is an opportunity for us that we should open our horizon, tentacles, and try other places, not only Shell, Texaco, Mando, whatever. Try some government agencies like fires that you mentioned. It's like here, so a lot of places that so we should just open our eyes to. And secondly, because of this, that's why some regulations that came across answer the question as well. I'm a member of, that's why I get a member of here. I'm a member of this one as well. But if you are a faculty, but you are a registered member of NICS, yes. So, unfortunately, my salary and master director is supposed to be part of this program. I'm saying to you, in fact, it was what I said invite me that should be part of this program. So there are a lot of regulations that are very important to organizations like the pressure vessels, oil and pressure vessels regulation 2018, and lifting equipment and all other regulation 2018 that all organizations need. So I will try to that it is very, very important for organizations to know. You know, because most of them don't know all these pressure vessels, they are pressure time. So there are regulations to guide us that our persons should come into respect all these things so that to be all necessary safety measures on ground and there. So thank you very much. I just want to put that as part of my mission.
Thank you very much. And I want to tell you something. I cannot work in oil and gas. Yeah. They may pay for me right now with the exposure I have because there's life beyond money. I believe the legacy. I want in my name when you open books later in life, you see, there was this lady that worked as a safety professional in non-oil and gas.
Additional questions, but then this is the time for networking, so you can reach out to her there. So thank you very much, everybody, for so far. We'll be doing our tea break now for 15 minutes, please. So by 12, okay, by 12:05, we'll be back for the rest of the day. Remember to take your meal ticket with you, because that's what you use to get your tea over there. So we can all start going back.
Oh.